Spectral Intercession is the debut full-length from Coffin Mulch. This is a Scottish death metal band who I guess they formed between folks who were interested in kind of sludge and punk and kind of what was going on in their scene at the time, and they picked up this as a old school death metal influence project that certainly took cues from Autopsy and Swedish death metal. And now it's hard for anyone to take that into an interesting direction, but I think the real pitch for this band is that they have taken it in an authentic and interesting direction by taking a lot of pointers from early Asphyx, Entombed, and even throwing in a little bit of their grinding hardcore punk influences, so that there's this kind of Nirvana 2002 feeling, the Nihilist feeling, where there's a lot of aggression to what they're doing. So I guess we'll cut to a song here to get an idea of how classically Swedish this sounds. It has been mastered by Dan Svano, so expect a certain kick to everything to hit your ears just about now. So really, I was looking for precedents and where I could really find like a Swedish death metal record in the past that sort of hit upon these sort of things. Now, a lot of them that I could pick from would probably touch upon Carcass too much. Harmony Corruption certainly has a certain guitar sound to it if you crank it loud enough, but Comicon's Megatrends and Brutality is kind of the medium between this sort of sterile and sort of coldly slapped hardcore punk drum sound, which is unique, authentically kind of old sounding, but doesn't sound like a Sunlight Studios drum machine. So what they do with that is they just kind of blast away. They hit this thing with speed, and it really helps propel the album forward and keep it interesting. So there are plenty of slower songs that you might remember from their first EP back a couple of years ago, but there's a lot more speed, energy, and that really sells this record. There's just that sense of horror and energy and inspiration. You feel it on this record, and I really got into it. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel old. It didn't feel like a revivalist band. It just, this is just a good death metal record that has some punk kick to it, that isn't too contrived or, just not trying too hard to be too weird. So it's a cool death metal record. It was a lot of fun to listen to, and I wish more bands were like this these days, that were just kind of putting the energy in and not worrying about whether you can mosh to it or whatever. Anyway, so again, a pretty straightforward review for me. It's a high recommendation. I'd probably kick up the score a little bit over time. I've listened to this quite a lot more since I finished the review. Definitely just one of the bigger recommendations of the month. Love the album art. Anything from the artist, that album artist is just perfect. And I think the unique production values here will keep this stuck in mind over time. I want to return to that drum sound. I love the way they've tempered the guitar sound, and I think the vocalist is just kind of nuts. I think he really showed up for this record too. So anyway, I could go on about this record. It's a solid record. So read more about what I have to say on their website, and go check it out on the 30th. What was the failure? No such as